Kuzaangpala, I'm Shadalma and you're watching Bhutan Today's face-to-face program. As the country looks to expand its solar energy sector, attracting private investment has become a key priority. But what exactly do the private investors need, and how can the country unlock its full potential in the growing global solar market? So today we speak with Steve Hiscock from ZhenPhen Solar, who has about 10 years of experience working in solar sector in Bhutan. So, sir, welcome, sir.
Thank you. I call myself a Bhutanese chillip.
Bhutanese chillip.
I'm a Bhutanese chillip, yeah.
Right, sir. So, sir, we'll go directly to the first question,
Sure.
sir. So, where do we stand in solar private investment right now?
Okay, well, I mean, our objective for a long time has been to commercialize solar.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of government work.
Right, sir.
DSP has done a significant amount of work and various other projects at DGPC and so on.
Right.
But we really need to get the actual economic commercial solar going, because that's going to feed into the process, and it's going to feed a lot more revenue into the process, right? So right now we're finalizing the PPA, which is the primary document. There's also going to be a secondary document that goes with the PPA, which we didn't talk about before. But it's a government, very simple government document that confirms for the purchase seller that the contract with BPC is going to be clear and solid and what we would call enforceable. Okay, so that's another sort of secondary small document that will be with that, and that will be kind of a formality because the BPC isn't authorized to sign off government's authority to change the law.
Right.
So you can't put it in a PPA. So that's another thing that has to be considered.
Right. So, sir, from an investor's perspective, what are the most important conditions that need to be in place before they invest in solar projects?
Well, the most important thing is that we have to have our ducks in a row. We have to have all our policies and all our regulations finalized, carved in stone, and at least to the point where we're comfortable putting them out there into the public. And for the investors, there's the tariff calculation that they're going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for the tariff. They're going to be looking for the term. They're going to be looking for an agreement that they can take to the bank. This is called a bankable PPA. So the ultimate goal is to get a bankable PPA, which everyone's working very hard on right now, and that should come together pretty quickly.
Right, sir. So, sir, as we all know that PPA is very critical for private investment, so where do we stand now, sir?
Okay, well, the PPA, and it's good that we're talking about this because the PPA is the most important critical document to the whole thing. There will be a secondary document, an associated document that will go with the PPA. Because the PPA is a power purchase agreement, which is an agreement that's done between the power seller, me with power on my house or building, and then the power purchasing company or distributor, in our case, BPC. So the agreement is between BPC and the power seller. So that agreement has to have several elements in it that we talked about already. It has to have the tariff, it has to have a term, it has to have all these things so that the person who wants to install the solar can go and borrow money, or they can feel comfortable and know that they're going to be receiving payment for their power for the next 25 years. The term of the contract right now is pretty much solid. That's pretty much carved in stone. It's going to be 25 years. They've agreed to that, and that's fine. That works really well. So that's a long-term investment program. Then you've got the banking concerns, so it has to have the right conditions, has to have the right elements in it that the bank can look at it, because they'll always look at it from a risk perspective. So if it has minimal risk and they see that it looks solid and that there's little to no risk, I mean, banks look for zero risk, so if there's little to no risk for them, then they're good with it. So that's we're kind of working on that at the same time. And so there's that. And then there's also the other thing that I think we should look at doing seriously, because some solar systems are much complicated than others. You have large systems and you have very small systems. The small systems don't require a complex power purchase agreement. They require the same fundamental 4 or 5 elements, but they don't require them to be extrapolated as much as a large system might. On a large system, there's other things to consider. There's large investment groups. There's multiple shareholders. There's multiple corporations. There's multiple investors. So all of those things have to be taken into consideration when you're looking at a large solar project. So the PPA is critical. It's almost there. I'm really, really anxious to see it. I'm really, really anxious to get my hands on it.
Right.
And I'd like to have it reviewed legally, and I'd like to have it reviewed by the banks to see if they're comfortable with everything that's in it.
So, sir, there has already been a lot of discussion on solar private investment. So how do you see an easier path forward for that, sir?
Well, one of the things I see with private investment, because that's exactly what I do, so I look at it from the commercial perspective. I look at it from a business person's and investor's perspective. You have to understand the government agencies, the various departments that are working so hard on this, they will have a tendency to see it from a little bit different perspective than a private investor. I tend to take a little bit slightly different approach to the whole sort of attraction of the investor idea. And the thing is, like, you have to understand, investors are they're like bloodhounds. They can sniff out opportunity. You don't have to tell them about it. They'll already know. So, and also, one of the things to keep in mind is solar investment is one of the highest priorities on in an investment portfolio. If they can get their hands on solar investment, they'll go for it. And the reason why is because it's such a low risk investment. So it's good for their investors, and it's good for the companies. And it's reliable income. It's far less contentious and far less problematic than any sort of average business investment. So that's number one. So I think I would tend to approach this a little differently. I would tend to not get the investors involved at all at this point. Wait until we have all of our ducks in a row and we know what we're doing. We have all our policies already organized. We have all of our regulations all set up. We know what our tariff is. We do a couple of soft models, and we can do that before we call investors in, because you don't want to waste their time. If they see that it's kind of, if we're not handling it perhaps as professionally as we could, then that's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. They're going to look at it and say, well, they're not really ready, So we need to be ready. And that means we need to have everything done. Everything done. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. We're always going to be reviewing it. Every year we're going to review it. We're going to update it. Some clauses go in, some clauses come out. Even the most complex PPAs in the world are being reviewed and have contentious issues. So it'll never be perfect. But anyway, so I think that we need to take a little bit of a different approach to investors. I think we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit too soon. And we have to be careful because we don't want to scare them away. Believe me, when the deal is there, when the numbers are there, they'll know about it. They'll know about it before we know about it. You know what I mean? These people, that's their business. That's what they do. That's what they know how to do. They look for opportunity. They find opportunity. And if the numbers are there, we don't have to call them. They'll call us. Okay? If the opportunity is there. The numbers are good. The returns are good. Believe me. We don't have to call them. So, sir, investors have many options globally, and Bhutan is not the only place to invest in solar. In your view, how can the country be competitive and attract serious investors? Well, okay, that's a really good question, and that's a really important one because it's not something that the regulatory groups and the policymakers will necessarily look at. But what I look at as an investor is I want to see clean, easy, simple, fast, straightforward. If there's a complication, I want help sorting the complication out. These things, once these contracts or once these agreements are entered into, they can't drag on. If they drag on, the investor looks at it, and you're not talking about a single individual. You're talking about if you ask a company to come in and spend $5 million and invest in solar, they have team of people.
Right.
They have a team of people. They have accountants. They have operational managers.
Right.
They have, all of these people in their team who will look at this project and say, and they will be the ones doing the groundwork. So what you need to do is we need to make it easy. Here in Bhutan, we need to look at this from a professional perspective. We need to put together what I would call an investor kit.
Right.
The investor kit has to have everything from A to Z.
Right.
It has to have samples of the applications. It has to have samples of agreements that have already been done, or models of agreements. It has to show the investor, here's the steps, right? It has to have an SOP, standard operating procedure.
Right.
Here's the steps we go through. Has to have estimated times, how long it's going to take to process in this particular department. If we provide them, there's several things that are going to happen. If we provide them with a really comprehensive professional investor kit, several things happen. One is they're going to perceive it as professional. They're going to perceive it as these guys know what they're doing. They got their act together. They're on board with this.
Right.
Second thing it's going to do is it's going to save us a lot of time. Investors aren't going to be calling, sharing at this department and Dorji at that department, trying to find answers to all these questions. They're already in the kit. Now we have to make sure that kit is very comprehensive.
Right.
It has everything we can possibly think of, including where they can buy airline tickets, who they can contact if they have a problem with their airline tickets or their visa. Everything needs to be in there to make it really easy for them.
Yeah.
The easier we make it for the investor, they're going to call us, and if it looks easy and it's simple and we have everything together and everything organized, they're going to say, let's do the project in Bhutan.
Right.
Forget the guys in Burma, Sri Lanka, or wherever. We're talking to them later. Let's deal with the guys in Bhutan. But if we don't have our act together, they're going to say, forget it. Take the calls.
From other countries.
Listen, we're not the only game in town here.
Right, sir.
We are not. We have to understand that. If we approach this professionally, we have to understand this from a business perspective. We are not the only game in town.
Exactly.
And we're not the most favored game in town either. We're a small country. We have our own issues. And so we need to make it even easier for the investor,
Yeah.
We do have some advantages that we can exploit.
Right, sir.
And we need to do that. But that there are lots of countries that are calling these guys up and saying, hey, come next week. We'll buy you dinner. We'll sort it all out. We'll have the paperwork signed by Tuesday.
Right, sir.
You know what I mean? So this is where we need to shine. We need to raise that bar. We need to take that bar way up, and we need to shine for the investors.
Right.
So it's really, really, really important. And this is what I see would be the catalyst to getting investment. Once you have that package put together, you call these people and you do a social media blitz.
Right, sir.
Believe me, all these investment groups, they're all there. They all know what's going on.
Right.
You put a phone number in the social media. They call. The minute they call, you get their number, you get their name, you ask 5 questions, and you courier a package, an investment package to them, wherever they are in the world.
Right, sir.
We do that at our expense.
Right.
But we courier them a package. So we make sure we follow up, we make sure they got the package.
Right, sir.
Then we talk to them, hey,
Did you get them?
can we book you next week? We've got a tour for you when you come. We've got a nice hotel for you. Can we book a trip for you to come and talk to us about investment solar? And we've given what you want to do based on the questions that they've answered. We have 3 or 4 sites we'd like to talk to you about.
Right, sir.
Be professional. Do your homework. Make sure it works. You know what I mean?
Right, sir. Right.
And you'll get investors. If you don't do that, you'll lose investors.
Right, sir.
Okay?
Right.
You'll lose investors to other countries, to other opportunities.
Right, sir.
These guys don't have a lot of time to waste. They don't have money to waste.
Yes.
You have to look at it from their perspective. They are trying to maximize the amount of return that they can get from a project for the least amount of investment. Right?
Right, sir.
That's the way you have to look at it.
So, sir, if there are delays in finalizing policies, tariffs, and agreements, what opportunities could be missed in terms of solar investment and projects?
Well, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of it or not, but there are a lot of people that are interested, even in Bhutan locally,
Right.
that are interested in investing in solar.
Right.
Now, because we've put out that invitation to investors,
Right.
a lot of people have come forward and said, I'm interested.
Right.
And I've heard many people at this point disappointed because we're not ready.
Right.
So they've come a long ways, they come to the meeting, we're still not ready. And they say, well, sounds the same as it did last year
Right.
or the year before. You know what I mean? So this is why we have to stop telling people, come and invest in solar until we have ourselves organized.
Right.
Everybody on the same page. Everybody knows the agreement, bulletproof, carved in stone, rock solid, right? This is what we have to have. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are interested in investing in solar, and those are only the ones that have come forward because they found out.
Right.
Now, that's going to filter down. As soon as we start installing solar, hopefully we'll do that soon, but again, that's not going to happen until we have this PPA solid.
Right.
But once that happens, this is going to escalate rapidly.
Right.
Okay, it's going to explode.
Right.
So we have to be very careful. We have to make sure that all departments have the resources to be able to handle investors' calls, to be able to handle investors' inquiries, to be able to handle applications.
Right.
Right. Any department that gets applications has to be able to handle a lot.
Right.
Right? They might get 25 a week. They might get more than 25 a week.
Yeah.
Right now, we're only handling 1 or 2
Right.
at best, okay?
Right.
So we need to be ready for that. Each department, not just the ones handling the applications, but the ones processing, BPC, Department of Energy. Everybody who's in the stakeholder list has to have their resources ready to go, have their resources allocated, have their people prepared, have their people knowledgeable who know what they're talking about. And that could also double. And one of my suggestions is that if we took every department, we took one individual for each of those departments, and we created a team, a investment support team, so that any investor, it's not going to be an investor who calls, it's going to be their team who calls. So you're going to get a call from the operations guy, and he's going to say, what do we do about this and this and this and this? And there you have a guy from BPC, an individual from BPC. He's their contact. He's going to say, I got an answer for you. And if he doesn't have an answer, I'll have an answer for you in 24 hours.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if you had that team together, it would do several things. It would alleviate the contact burden on the different departments. The second thing it would do is it would immediately create a connection of communication, so that each of those individuals on that team would then relay to their various departments. And communication is not our strong point. So that's something we have to get a little better at. Well, this would be a way to create that. And then
what we are missing, sir?
But here's the thing. Yes, you're right. What we're missing is you get 25. If we had our ducks in a row and we were doing solar projects right now, if we had 20, we could easily right now have 25 projects on the go. 25. That means hotel rooms rented. That means people employed. That means taxis employed. That means restaurants serving food. It means all the peripheral industries, hardware stores, all the peripheral industries that are involved with that, that are bringing economic prosperity to Bhutan. We are losing massive opportunity right now by not having this ready. Right now. Like, that's only 25. In 6 months' time, you're going to have another 25. More than 25. In 3 months after that, you're going to have 50. You see what I mean? You see the escalation, what's going to happen with the escalation? And you don't have to ask me. Look at the Indians. They've already had the same problem. The whole thing has escalated very, very, very quickly. So we need to get this rolling. We need to get this done so that we can, because we're losing massive economic opportunity right now that I see. And I hate to see that. I hate to see that.
So, sir, thank you for coming to our program and helping us understand how the solar private investments work, sir.
You're very welcome. There's a lot to it. And there's a lot of things that we didn't discuss as well that should be considered. And we might want to talk about them as well sometime.
While interest in solar investment is growing, clear policies, secure agreement, and attractive returns will determine whether the investors choose to invest here. However, Bhutan is not the only place investors can invest in solar, so creating a competitive and reliable investment environment will be crucial for the future of solar sector. Thank you for watching. Until next time.